It's like, if I even started talking, what would I talk about? What would I talk about? Because that's what my mind was always focused on. What are you going to say in the immediate future? Like, what are you going to say in a second, and what did you just say a second ago? That was something that I was very, very, very hyper focused on, monitoring my own words. And always like a totalitarian Überwachungsstaat, what the fuck is that in English? Regime, I guess, like Big Brother is watching me, but Big Brother is just a voice in my head. So I created Big Sister! And Big Sister is always supporting you. She's always listening, and she wants you to win. Eight. It's not only necessary for me to talk to myself, but it could actually benefit my self-confidence and self-worth. Because whenever I talk to people, there is a little voice that just pops up and is like, this person doesn't give a fuck. They're not as spiritual as you are. They're not as deep. And that makes me judge them. And that makes me manifest them in a way like I perceive them to be someone who wouldn't understand. And then I don't really say what I want to say because of that filter that I see them through. So sometimes not having a filter at all, which I don't even have. I wouldn't even say necessarily that there is no filter on my vision right now, because I do have some sort of judgment about myself and also the imaginary audience. But I decide what I think about these people. I could think that this is going into the void. I could be talking to God right now. And I think that this is the dream that I became lucid in. Remembering that anything I ever say, do, create, express, I express to God, from God, for God, which is just another word for I am. Eternity, nothingness, void. There is no reason to fake or pretend anything to the void that is literally infinite. So I am infinite and I am nothing at the same time, because nothing is the most infinite thing there is, and if there wasn't nothing, there wouldn't be anything. It sounds so cool, but it's not cool. And I just don't want to elaborate on what I just said, because either you know or you don't. If you know, you know. Still a little bit cringe. I remember recording myself as a child, and it felt like I was trying to capture myself, but not for the way that I was. But for the way that I wanted to be. And I guess that kind of made me realize my full highest self, authentic potential. And I also had phases of really like struggling to just even like speak on camera throughout my life, and it must be an autistic experience. But I didn't know that, and I also don't think it makes a difference because it's just an experience that you still, even if I knew that I was autistic and I wouldn't have like seen a correlation between these two, it would just be another thing that's weird about me, not normal, when in reality most people probably don't know how to talk, how to feel, and how to be themselves in front of a camera, because that really shifts your focus from being to thinking, because you're like, oh my god, how do I just exist, how do I just be my most natural self without trying too hard, which is already trying too hard. And then that makes me judge myself, or made me judge myself, that I was thinking that I shouldn't be judging myself, but I was. So I was judging my own judgment, resisting the resistance towards my softness, and instead of receiving the feeling of resistance, receiving the feeling of judgment, I would try to control it away and force myself to record myself and capture the version of myself that I wanted to be. Because I knew that I was already her. And I still am. And I actually turned it. So, accepting that about myself, accepting that sometimes I have moments where I fall back into all these crazy thinking patterns. It started with accepting that I was a crazy thinking pattern, because it was a constant. It wasn't like a moment of thinking something bad. It was like a negative belief system. It was just like a scarcity mindset. It was so identified with everything. I kept thinking that I couldn't even I didn't even realize that I was suffering from my own mind. And now that I'm like half awake, halfway there, or at least that's what it's gonna feel like forever, because you're never gonna be there, I'm just looking at these thoughts and the feelings that they create or trigger, and realize that that's exactly how the body works. I sit here, listen to what the mind says, then decide to speak, not out of a reaction, not out of fear, but out of curiosity and intention and being with myself. When I'm actually here with myself, instead of trying to figure something out of my mind, trying to make something up that is not even actually anything that I really am experiencing right now, that makes me pretend. And that's something that I keep judging. So that judgment eventually showed me that there was something that I didn't like about the way that I was living. And my judgment of the judgment made me ignore what it was actually about. I like that I know when I don't like something, because that's something that I never used to focus on, because people used to tell me that it's not important what I want, and it doesn't even matter what I want, actually. So I never learned to listen to my needs, to my wants, to my opinions, to my emotions. Kind of lost my train of thought here, but I think I don't even think. It's the person that I live in, and she has these thoughts, and I can hear that. I can listen, and I can express what she says. If I want to. If she wants me to. I can talk to her. I can ask her. I can ask her what her name is, and she will tell me. And if anyone needs this kind of relationship with God, with something that seems more reachable, I guess, than your inner child, then talk to your father, and that's gonna answer, and that's like your masculine, I guess, energy, or maybe the balanced energy of everything. The polarities, they work together, they create, and if they create something in your mind that you call God, that's perfect. That's like perfect. And if God talks to you in a voice that sounds like God, perfect. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want. The God has always been there, because God is I am, and God can't ever leave you. But you can decide to ignore what you already know. You can decide to ignore the feelings that you already received, the emotions that you already feel. Whatever it is that you already experience right now in this present moment. If you decide to think your feelings away, rationalize and change what it is that you experience because you're scared of it, because you're afraid that this is not enough, you need something else, then who is the one to blame? Who is causing all this suffering, or what is it? Blame is not the right word, I think. You could try to blame yourself and then realize that it's actually just another projection of trying to actually get your needs met, because you're the one not meeting your own needs, because nobody ever taught you how to even see what it is that you want or notice, because you were focused on noticing what other people want, reading that off their fucking face. And now you're so perfect at micro expressions that you can see when somebody's triggered, and you definitely interpret that you're the reason why, even though every person has layers that you couldn't know about. And even if you feel like you're like psychic and pattern recognition is like perfect, and you're just this goddess of a person, this is not what it's about. You're not here to win the game. You're here to play it. And playing is winning. And if you're winning and you're not even having fun, then it's not a game anymore. It's like a contest. This life is not a contest. You don't need to win. You're gonna win when you feel like you're having fun, because that's the prize. The game, the playing is the prize, actually.